Super Monkey Ball, the franchise about rolling an ape and a transparent ball into a goal across the stage. While it may sound simple, the game's numerous hazards, mazes, and difficult maneuvers make it a unique 3D platforming experience. Super Monkey Ball 1 was actually the first game I ever played on console, when I was just 5 years old. Back when me and my sisters were sharing 2 Game Boys 3 ways, I would actually get excited to go to our local haircut place because they had a GameCube with Monkey Ball kids could play in the lobby. And while it's been a while since I played Monkey Ball, or gotten a haircut for that matter, my warm feelings towards the franchise stay with me all these years later. So when I saw Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania, a new remake combining the most popular games in the series, I had to get it for myself. At first I thought I was picking up a simple little game to stream as a break from Pokemon, but soon I came to realize that despite its simple mechanics, Monkey Ball is an honest challenge of skill and mind. Between the game's story mode, DX mode, and the challenge modes for Monkey Ball 1 and 2, there are over 300 standard stages in Banana Mania, each providing their own difficulties. Over the course of a month, I played every standard level in the game, and today I'm going to share with you the ones I believe to be the top 10 hardest. Stages in Monkey Ball can be difficult for so many reasons. They force you to race against the clock, stay balanced, master obstacles, and make split-second decisions. While I had to keep all these factors in mind, ultimately the list is based on how challenging I believe the levels are. But while I'm drawing off my own experiences, I'm trying to do so in a semi-objective way. This means that the amount of time levels took me is a factor, but it's not everything. I had to leave off a number of stages which took me a while on my first try, but ultimately weren't that bad when looking back, such as Crazy Maze, which took me 18 minutes, and Floor Slants, which oddly took me 30 minutes on my first attempt. I also left off stages where I cut my time significantly upon replay. A prime example being Warp, which took me an hour and 4 minutes to beat on my first week of the game, but only 7 minutes when I had to play the stage a few weeks later for challenge mode. But since I am going off of my own playthrough, I may not give attention to some stages that others may have considered difficult, like Dizzy System or Variable Width from Super Monkey Ball 2's Master Mode, both of which I was surprisingly able to take down with ease. Now that I've established the judging criteria, let me get 2 honorable mentions out of the way. First, I wanted to quickly shout out Strata for Super Monkey Ball 2's Expert Mode. I think this stage provides a really unique challenge of dropping between 4 platforms that get narrower as you go. Especially once you reach the final 2, safely turning around your Monkey Ball and riding over the ramps without falling can be a legitimate grind. Second, I'm going to be selfish and mention Cross Floors from World 9 of the story. Not only is it one of the 4 stages that took me over an hour on my first attempt, it's actually one of the 2 times I ended stream without beating a level of Monkey Ball. That's like going to bed after an argument with a loved one and not clearing the air. It just felt wrong. That being said, I cleared it in 10 minutes the next day, and have been able to beat it twice since, both in less than 5 attempts. Ultimately, it's another case of a challenge being too great for me too early, but for almost breaking me, I had to give it a shout out. But with those honorable mentions out of the way, let's get to our real list. I debated between a couple of stages for the number 10 spot on my list, but I ultimately landed on Invasion from Super Monkey Ball 1's Expert Mode. I felt I had to include Invasion because it's the embodiment of one of the franchise's most frustrating obstacles: bumpers. Bumpers are a unique hazard that force you to give them plenty of space when passing because if you touch them, even lightly, you're sent off course. This stage has a total of 12 bumpers, 6 of which are moving, all on a series of narrow platforms you have to navigate to reach the goal at the end. It's not the tightest of margins of maneuverability I faced in Monkey Ball, but some of the least forgiving and most frustrating. Every start and stop along the way had me tense throughout. All in all, it took me just under 20 minutes on my first attempt, but that was more than enough bumper agony to get my number 10 spot. At the number 9 slot, I'm putting Launchers from World 4 of the game's story mode. Launcher's challenge comes from its total randomness factor. In this stage, you go to the bottom of a giant column and hope to get shot onto the platform above by the 4 launchers. While in the air, you often don't even know where you are until you're already dead. In the attempt where you do get your bearings, you have to control and land your ape on a platform which is only about 10 monkey balls wide. It's less of a skill-based stage than many on this list, and it's more about throwing your hands in the air and praying. It's such a frustrating stage that it's the level that made me stop using the character Baby because I was sick of constantly hearing that awful crying. While the stage was rough on my first attempt, taking 43 minutes, I had an easier time controlling my launch when I had to play the stage again for Super Monkey Ball 2's challenge mode a few weeks later, clearing it in only 7 minutes. Not only that, I was able to get the green goal, which is on the underside of the rotating platform you usually drop onto from the top. Although that was partially lucky timing on my launch, a dub is still a dub. My number 8 pick is probably going to be the most unusual for longtime fans of the franchise, but I have to speak my truth here. I'm picking 8 bracelets from World 7 of the story, simply because of the amount of time it took me to master the stage's unique maneuvers. Along with the previously mentioned Warp and Cross Floors, this is one of the 4 stages that took me over an hour on my first go, and is actually the stage that took me second longest to beat in the game at an hour and 19 minutes. I found it really difficult to maintain momentum when transferring between the bracelets, because you're forced to dramatically change your angle at high speeds. I was often either losing all my speed or flying over the next bracelet entirely. That being said, I think a lot of my struggle came from how early I had to play this level after getting the game. On my second attempt a few weeks later, it took me just under 11 minutes, and I even beat the stage on my first try when playing it a third time last week. While you could certainly argue other stages above it, 8 Bracelet provides a unique challenge and gets my number 8 spot for being my first demon in Banana Mania. At the number 7 spot, I'm putting Exam C from Super Monkey Ball 1's Expert Mode. Unlike a lot of stages on this list which operate on a single brutal mechanic, Exam C is a long marathon of an obstacle course, with unique hazards throughout. When you begin the stage, you have to go up a narrow ramp, across a V-shaped bridge, then down a set of skinny stairs while going slowly enough to park at the small platform on the bottom. From there, you bounce across a rectangle full of gaps, parking on another tiny platform, then finishing off the stage with a long, winding bridge full of tight turns and little margin for error. And if you mess up on a single obstacle, it's back to square one. This sounds awful, but in a lot of ways I consider it to be one of the most fun levels in the game because you don't die in the same spot over and over. Plus, you get 90 seconds compared to the usual 60, making it a totally unique endurance test. On top of that, beating this stage gave me one of my best clips in the history of the channel, so I had to include it on my list. For the 6th hardest level on my list, I decided to go with the final stage of Super Monkey Ball 1's normal mode, Polar Large. On this stage, you transfer between a series of moving platforms towards the outer ring where the goal lies. If remembering the fast sequence of the platforms isn't enough of a challenge, getting to the outer ring requires you to ride across another ring that is constantly turning on its x-axis. Oh, and did I mention bumpers were back for this one? This stage forces you to make quick decisions, recognize patterns, and constantly give your attention to the threat at hand. For first-time players, this stage can be a massive speed bump early on, especially considering every other stage I'm placing above it are from the game's master modes. So for being the king of normal mode, Polar Large gets my nod at number 6. At number 5, I'm putting Long Torus from Super Monkey Ball 2's master mode. On this stage, you have to roll across a large rotating donut thing. And while that sounds like a good time, it's actually the least fun level on this list in my opinion. Trying to stay on top of a rounded object is bad enough, but the level pours salt in the wound by making you wait a full 10 seconds before the donut even flattens enough to ride. This, along with staying balanced around the loops and then dropping into the goal, makes this level an absolute chore. It took me around 40 minutes to beat on my first try, and was one of the worst experiences I had in the game. It was such a waste of time that honestly, I don't even want to talk about it anymore. On to the next one. Super Monkey Ball 2 is showing up again at 4 with Helix. On this stage, you ride down and around a corkscrew and drop into a goal at the bottom. When playing this level, you need to be able to recognize where to be on the curve of the corkscrew at all times, and it switches at different points along the ride. You have to trust your instincts as you ride, because if you slow down, speed up, or go too far to one side, it's back to the start. Of the stages on this list, Helix was actually the one I cleared fastest at around 15 minutes. That being said, it was also the last level I played in the game, so I had already aligned all my chakras and hit the avatar state by the time I reached it. Even still, it was a formidable foe and earned a top 5 spot. At number 3, I'm actually going to do a one-time cheat and combine 2 stages, with Edgemaster from Super Monkey Ball 1 and Destiny, the final level of Super Monkey Ball 2. Both stages turn at complete 90-degree angles at specific time intervals. On Destiny, you have to do this for 5 rotations, for the faces of a die. You only have to go for 2 rotations on Edgemaster, but the landing platform for the first turn is particularly unforgiving. In both cases, you have to know exactly when to go and have near perfect control of speed and braking. Edgemaster actually took me longer than Destiny, but I did take a break mid-attempt to rank the Monkey Ball cast and establish Gon supremacy. I'd probably still be stuck on Edgemaster to this day if I mained II. For the second to last pick on my list, I'm choosing a stage that I think people often sleep on, that being 8 Seesaws from Super Monkey Ball 2. On this one, you have to ride up and down seesaws while making transfers throughout. You can't simply hold forward or the seesaws won't have time to raise the front-facing side for you to transfer. But if you wait for more than an instant on the backside, you slowly roll backwards towards your doom. On top of this, the seesaws all have gaps in the middle that can kill your speed or send you off course entirely. I don't know what it is about stages with 8 in the name, but this one was an honest struggle for me, taking 41 minutes, and I think it earned its spot on my list. Since I began making this top 10 list, I've shifted around the order of every stage except one because I found it to be head and shoulders above the pack. So with the rest of the top 9 done, it's time for me to announce that the hardest stage in Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania is Diamond from Casual Mode. I'm just kidding, it's Stamina Master from Super Monkey Ball 1's Master Mode, of course. For anyone who watched my Monkey Ball streams, this will be no surprise, but for the uninitiated, let me explain myself. While most of the stages we've looked at so far can be broken down into a single gimmick, Stamina Master brings the unique challenge of combining 3 extremely difficult obstacles. The level starts with a narrow V-shaped bridge like the one from Narrow Peaks, but even steeper. If you safely make it over the bridge and don't fly off stage because you hit the pole on the other end, the stage will take you to a tiny cluster of platforms moving towards and away from one another. This segment is like Dodecagon from Super Monkey Ball 1's Expert Mode, but even faster. If you somehow make it through both those obstacles, you're faced with a flat, spiral helix like the one from Conical Sliders. So all in all, there's plenty of ways a Stamina Master run can slip through your fingers, and I face them all, believe me. Stamina Master is a challenge unlike any other in the game. On my first attempt of Super Monkey Ball 1's Master Mode, it took me 20 minutes to even reach the stage, and I played for 2 hours and 15 minutes before ultimately deciding to quit the level midstream, something I've only done once before and haven't done since. It broke me. But when I came back to finish the job later that week, I came back with a vengeance. I flew through the first 2 levels of Master Mode in 5 minutes and was ready to battle Stamina Master again in my new heightened state. Not only was I getting further into the stage more consistently, but I had been studying shortcut strats to launch myself off the middle of the stage into the goal down below. And after an hour and 13 minutes, this happened. Stamina Master took me 2 streams and a total of 3.5 hours to conquer on my first attempt. I struggled on plenty of levels in Banana Mania, but this is the only one that truly took a piece of my soul. Even though I was able to beat this stage in much less time the week of this recording, it's still my number 1 pick because it truly is a beast. But at the end of it all, I'm overjoyed to have defeated Stamina Master, and now have the confidence to face any stage that crosses me on the rest of my Super Monkey Ball journey. If you've made it this far, I really appreciate you watching. As you can see from my shirt, I've really fallen back in love with this franchise, so making the video was well worth the effort. If you want to see more like it, feel free to give me recommendations in the comment section below. Same goes for stages you think I left off the list. I would love to hear y'all's opinions of the game. Also, make sure you like, subscribe, and are following my Twitch at twitch.tv/KaizenKevi. Thanks, and see you later, homies.